Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the KCGN podcast. I'm Jeff, and joining me today is Daniel.
It's been about a month.
Well,
over a month.
We experienced some technical difficulties on the editing side, but those
computer issues that.
But those are mostly solved now. So,
and also, it wasn't just that; it was also busy with other things.
Yeah,
too.
December and January are always busy months of the year, at least for me. But we are back, hopefully with our bi-weekly episodes. So is that, or episodes every other? Is that what every other week episodes?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's we're gonna be uploading the podcast on a regular basis again, and we got some video content on the way. So we got a review of an actual Game & Watch coming up, and some other exciting stuff.
I gotta get that uploaded.
Yeah.
Or I gotta edit it. So
yeah. So I think again, apologies for the whole KCGN being kind of dormant throughout December and January. We had a lot of stuff going on, but we are back in full force. My New Year's resolution for the KCGN podcast is going to be to try and get interviews on the show. We need to. I feel like that would be.
We basically already have one lined up. We
haven't confirmed anything yet, but yeah, that'd be cool. Definitely want to try and get some cool new content on the show. What's your New Year's resolution for KCGN, Dan?
Pump out reviews and just that kind of stuff.
Interviews,
reviews.
It's gonna be great.
All kinds of stuff, which we were already working on until computer problems. But you're gonna rework your Tron.
Yes, the Tron Runner review is on hold for now. It's because I just realized the actual game is going to be finished and released on consoles, and I assume the PC version is going to be taken out of early access on whatever day it comes out, sometime in February rather. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about, so let's dive right in.
Yeah, and I want to start off with the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD port, because there's been some more info on that. Mm-hmm. And I think we already touched on this. We talked about...
You were disappointed, and you're more
disappointed. I'm looking at it again, and I'm still disappointed. I already pre-ordered it, but... Because the amiibo it came with, too.
Right.
Which was cool. But it's not really worth $50 to me, from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's just... Yeah, the textures are high-res. But the models are the same. Which I don't... Models usually don't get touched when it comes to remakes, because you got collision detection, all that crap. It's just a pain in the ass to rework all that. But I mean, the textures, I wish they would have added some bump mapping, or like normal maps, or like specular maps, which give everything like that realistic look. Like bump maps, it looks like it's bumpy, but it's actually a texture. And then you have the specular map, which gives it like the shine. Like you look at a sword, it's got like scratches, and you know how like on the scratch it like shines on there. I know you know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking to the audience here, because they don't know what those are.
Now, I believe with some more recent game engines, like with Fallout 4, anything basically that uses physically based rendering. I believe specular maps have been phased out, actually, and they have been replaced with what they call a gloss map, I believe. Which, I don't know. It's either way. Yeah, I've seen all of the Twilight, or not all of it, but I've seen some of the Twilight Princess HD footage. It looks like Link is right-handed in the
No, he's
re-release.
left-handed.
Oh, is he left-handed? Or is left-handed? That's right. That's what I meant to say.
So it's canon with the GameCube release, as it should
the
be.
GameCube release. So, anyways, the thing is, it doesn't look that great. And if you actually look at the developer that's working on it, it is the I forget the name of the developer. It's some Australian developer. They've done a lot of Wii U stuff. This is the developer that when the Wii U came out, they actually had a launch title, and that was Funky Barn. So
They're a shovelware developer, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, I could have sworn they had some other big big release. I'm gonna
yeah,
look it up.
For what I saw, I don't want to knock them down too bad, but it depends what Nintendo asks them to do, because it seems to me like they're doing what they're doing what they're supposed to do, and I don't
Okay, so
think
I've
Nintendo
got
will allow
a little bit of an update
anything
here.
less than,
I just did a little bit of research. Tantalus is the name of that developer. They are only doing the graphics, though.
Yeah, they just upres the textures and
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I'm
nothing
gonna look up their
complicated.
track record.
Which wasn't Wind Waker done in house, the re-release,
Wind Waker, I believe, was. I'll look
and that had
up.
like a whole new lighting engine and bloom, and everything was. A lot of things were redone.
So actually, that was also not done in house. I'm gonna look up. Nintendo EAD is doing all of the gameplay stuff with this, as they did with Wind Waker HD. I'm looking up Hexadrive is the name of the developer that did the graphics reworking for Wind Waker HD, and I'm looking at their track record. They have worked on The Wonderful 101. They've worked on Final Fantasy 15. They've worked on Snake Eater 3D. So this is a developer with a pretty big.
Yeah, they seem.
This is a good developer. But
legit.
Looking at Tantalus, I'm trying to find the page on Wikipedia for the game developer, and it's more difficult than it should be. Here we go. They're called Tantalus Media, and they have worked on the Polar Express for the Game Boy Advance. They've been around longer, keep in mind. They did the PS4 and Xbox One and PC version of Zombie U. And there's Funky Barn. They appear to have been the developer of MX versus ATV on the PSP. It's interesting.
So really nothing that big compared to the Wii U or the Wind Waker guys.
Yeah, well, Zombie.
But that was just I mean, it's all been ports.
Yeah, well, this other developer also has only done ports. So.
Well, they did. Wait, Final Fantasy what?
Final Fantasy 15 is their latest thing. Before that, it was.
Well, what they do exactly?
It doesn't say what they do.
You said they worked on what?
They are okay. So they are an independent video game developer in Osaka, Japan. Their most recent release was an HD remastered version of Final Fantasy Type 0 for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They also remastered Rez on Xbox Live Arcade, and they developed The Third Birthday in collaboration with Square Enix. But it does not say what their specific work on it was. So,
well, this comes down on this is Nintendo's fault for not telling them to do more. I mean, it's Nintendo's decision what is added to the remake.
Yeah,
it's their fault in the end. And
I
don't doubt that.
Keep in mind, we haven't seen the finished product.
Yeah,
yet,
it's less than 2 months out. It's a month out.
Yeah,
the
build that we saw.
Finished. And the build that they showed off, like a few days ago, so that it is what that's what's going to be because.
So, I don't know. I feel like for someone like me who's never played the original game, I probably wouldn't pay $50 for it because it just doesn't look great. It just looks very bland as far as like its color palette goes. But then again,
the old one did too.
Game, so,
but if there's a game that needs a remake, it's Twilight Princess because that game's graphics did not hold up as well as Wind Waker's. Wind Waker is timeless to me because the graphical style, it's just the style is held up. And Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, it's just feels muddy and.
I mean, it just looks very gray and
it is the
brown.
Color palette is depressing, which is
like,
the point, I guess. But I still want it to pop out more. Like
Wind Waker HD is really, I feel like that is the shining achievement in just like visual design for a Zelda game.
Yeah, but, even though people complained at it, and people
see,
we're gonna get crushed here because
even Ocarina of Time, I feel holds up really well because its low poly visual style is maintained pretty consistently throughout the whole game, and it has a very colorful palette. But I don't know. It's when you compare it to something like Twilight Princess just feels a lot more bleak, which can be a good thing. But if it's like the whole entire game,
whole game felt. I thought it was the weakest. I thought it was the weakest 3D Zelda game to me because I just didn't. It was so boring in the beginning, and it had a lot of drawn out, boring parts to it. It just didn't flow that well compared to the other ones.
Right.
And I even like Skyward Sword better. Sue me. It's not a popular opinion. I know everyone loves Twilight Princess, but I think they love it because the art style, they like the realistic, it's not realistic, but it's more realistic.
Right.
But the realistic things don't age as well.
Yeah.
And that's a game
they can. Like I said, I feel like Ocarina of Time is aged
Ocarina of Time is not realistic at all.
Oh, it's more realistic than like Wind Waker or something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It is. You can definitely tell by looking at the pre-rendered.
Because that's part of what bugged me about what I've seen of Twilight Princess. They seem to try to keep those Ocarina of Time style character designs, but they've just updated them into like this higher poly, more detailed 3D model format, and it just does not work very well. Like you have this guy with this massive body and like Lanky Kong style Stretch Armstrong arms, and it just looks so weird, and it does not work at all.
Well, I've never thought that Zelda's had the best character designs for NPCs. Anyway, but Twilight Princess, they are really freaking weird.
Yeah, I feel like.
But talking about, is it worth $50? No. Like, it's a game that came out 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, that kind of remake is like $20, $30 tops. Even Wind Waker, to me, was not worth $50.
I mean, to me it was, but that's because I've never played it before.
Well, even if I've never played it, I don't think any remake, to me, I'm not going to go out and spend $50 on it. Unless it's that's not a remake. Those aren't really remakes. Those are a remake. I might pay like Final Fantasy VII remake. I'll pay $50, $60 for that. But I ain't paying for an HD port of a game that came out.
Now I feel
10 years ago.
I feel like for me, because I bought Wind Waker HD at its normal price of $50. Was it 50 or 60? I don't remember.
It was 50.
Well, anyways, I felt like I got my money's worth because there was a ton of stuff to do in that game, and I had never played any of it before.
Well, yeah, but even then, I felt
like in that regard it was worth it. Because to me, there's no reason I don't see, like, comparing it to any other modern, like, $50 game, you know?
But, I mean, they've already made it 10 years ago.
They've already made it. I don't think
it matters to me because they're getting away with just porting shit, and people are paying for it. It's a problem with the industry. They're porting it to HD and slapping a huge price tag on it.
Part of the appeal of that though is for people who never played it.
Yeah, but
originally.
it's still. I don't think it's morally right to me to slap $60, $50 on it.
I mean, we can talk about morals in a business environment all day, but I don't think we're going to get anywhere.
Well, that's the point of the podcast here. We're supposed to have discussions. So,
but either way,
I just don't feel any port is worth $50.
Because I missed out on a lot of games back in the day, and I feel like HD re-releases really have helped me to kind of get into those.
Well, yeah, I don't have a problem with those.
In some cases of re-releases, like if we look at Snake Eater 3D on the 3DS, that is a re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, but with modern, like, actual acceptable controls, as opposed to, okay, so you wanna grab this guy with R1, then hold down L2 to pull out your gun, then use the right stick while holding these buttons to, I don't know, it's this whole convoluted thing. Whereas in Snake Eater 3D, it's just a control scheme that makes sense. And
this
there's
is
like
my only issue is price tag on these. Like $40 for, at least with the 3DS Zeldas, they completely remodeled everything.
Oh yeah,
completely redid it. It's done from scratch, basically.
Yes.
So
the 3DS ones are good examples of that. But like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker HD.
But even then, it's like
360.
they already have the game in place, so it's like they're not really doing anything concept art or anything.
Well, with Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker HD, they actually went in and added online multiplayer to the whole thing.
Okay, yeah. Well, then when you do that,
because the original game had PSP, like to PSP local multiplayer. And then in the HD re-release,
the thing with that,
multiplayer,
they bundled all those like 3 games together
they
for
were all
$50 or $40 or whatever.
Yeah.
So like that's worth it.
Oh yeah,
that's absolutely worth it. But when you got like $50 for one of those games, I ain't pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah, I just feel like for me, like if it's a game I've never played before,
I didn't play
it's a game I really want to play, and if I feel like the game itself warrants a $50 purchase, then yeah, I'd totally be on board with that. But like if it's like, oh, here's Super Star Wars for $50, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I just still
Super
think
Star Wars, as great as it is not worth $50.
Well, no, they wouldn't do that ever. But
right,
you know,
my
point is, even if I've never played it and I really want to play it, I'm still hesitant at a $50 price tag. No matter what it is.
I know Nintendo in Wind Waker HD, they did make some gameplay adjustments in that, and then they of course have like all the Miiverse integration stuff.
Well, that's the other part of the Twilight Princess. There is added features, but they're amiibo features. Ones that I feel are very gimmicky. You can fill your arrows by touching like Link to the touchpad. I'm like, that's cheating the game. First off, I hate that.
Cheat code.
And that's just why do I have to pay $13 for stupid shit like that?
Yeah, I mean you're paying $13.
Well, I mean it's a cross-platform DLC. It's cross-platform DLC or like cross-game DLC, whatever the hell.
I don't know if you can call that. I mean you're paying.
I mean it's DLC. You can unlock shit on multiple games, so I kind of. I mean, it's simple shit. But
it's like buying an all-access key.
But I mean, the Wolf Link amiibo, you have to have that to do the dungeon thing, and
I don't.
The extra dungeon. The extra dungeon that is something new for this game, which is just basically wave after wave of enemies. Which is like, why do I have to have an amiibo for that?
Yeah, that sounds kind of dumb.
Even though a lot of the new. Like the pre-order, you can pre-order it with it for like $10 more or whatever. But I don't. I just want the amiibo, like, and have the game. That's kind of worth $60, but not really. But I did it because I thought it was going to be sold out, and it's not.
Right.
So that's how they get. Yeah.
Yeah. So
'Cause
Twilight Princess HD, coming out pretty soon on the Wii. What's the release date on that?
like March 4th.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, that there was something else I was gonna say. I forgot.
well, um, well, since we're talking about DLC, go ahead and move on to our next topic. Very recently, like I think 2 days ago or something, Electronic Arts announced their DLC plans for Star Wars Battlefront, which I enjoy playing. Fair disclaimer though, I effectively got the whole game with all the DLC for $15. So I won some Kansas lottery thing. So, anyways, uh,
You won the
uh,
lottery.
I won $100 in the lottery and blew it all in Star Wars. Worthy cause, I might add. So, $15 for Star Wars Battlefront with its DLC. I feel like that it's probably worth it, as shallow as the base game is. So, anyways,
Oh God, that ain't
it's
worth $60.
I do enjoy playing it though. It's a fun game. So, anyways, today actually, they just released a bunch of new free content for the game. They added some new multiplayer maps, I believe. See, they added the new there's in Battlefront there's a single player, really shallow single player mode. It's like a survival mode where you just hold off against waves of enemies. The Tatooine map for that mode is now available in the smaller scale multiplayer mode, so that's pretty cool. And then they have new Hoth themed outfits for Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, which is pretty cool. And then they did a bunch of balanced stuff as well. So the big news, though, is that they are also, I guess in February, there's going to be more free stuff. They're doing a new survival mission on Hoth, a new Hoth multiplayer map, and they're also bringing the Turning Point multiplayer mode to all of the large-scale maps as well, which is pretty cool.
And I just remembered what I was gonna say.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, we could put it after the
Okay, sure.
Battlefront.
Yeah. So, anyways, in March they're adding another Endor map, and then, but the big news is that they announced the details of 3 of the 4 expansion packs that are going to be coming out over the course of this year and into next year. So in March, they're going to release, they call it the Outer Rim expansion pack, which is going to have a new map in Solist, and Jabba the Hutt's palace on Tatooine will also be included in that. And then there's a Bespin expansion pack with Cloud City stuff, and then and that's in summer 2016. And then fall this year, they're going to have the Death Star expansion, which I'm actually pretty excited to see what they do with that. I don't know how you do the Walker Assault mode on the Death Star, but I'm excited to find out. So
You don't.
And then
they'll do some new game mode or something.
Oh yeah. They said they were going to be adding new game modes with the expansion, so I'm looking forward to see what they end up adding in those. So Dan, what are your thoughts on this on all of this DLC that's coming out? Because a lot of it's free.
Like the costumes.
Well, the costumes in a lot of new maps too.
So wait.
So
what are the paid maps that you paid an extra $50 million
expansion
for?
packs. Those are they call them expansion packs because they include new abilities, they include new game modes, new maps, and stuff like emotes and stuff like that.
Because emotes and shit just gets kind of silly.
They also include weapons. Emotes is the only cosmetic thing that's included in them, I believe.
I mean, new maps would be worth it, but
yeah,
in game modes, I guess.
And then they're adding new maps for free over the next 3 months too. So,
like, what was it?
So this month today they added a new Tatooine map. Kind of, they took one of the survival maps and just reworked it into a multiplayer map.
Oh, yeah.
But then next month they're doing a new. In February they're going to be doing a new 2 new Hoth maps, one for survival mode and another for the larger scale game modes like Walker Assault and Fighter Squadron and so on. But what Star Wars environment? Because keep in mind, I mean, like within the realm of reasonability, that being original trilogy stuff, since that's what they're focusing on for this game. What Star Wars locations would you want to see in Star Wars Battlefront? Within
Well,
the
I mean,
realm of
they've
possibility for this game.
got everything covered.
Hmm. Well, they haven't. The realm of possibility here is pretty large because they have Solist, which wasn't in any of the movies. That environment was created pretty much entirely from scratch for
Technically, they could do what's it called? Coruscant. Technically, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, because it was like
It existed.
it was at the end of episode 6, wasn't it?
I know in the special edition it was.
Okay. Yeah, Coruscant map would be cool. Because we haven't really seen much of Coruscant
Since
post
episode 3.
episode 3. So that's, and I guess the big theory right now is that, and this is spoiler alert for episode 7. If you haven't seen it by now, it's your own fault. Rumors that Coruscant was the planet that we saw get destroyed, or one of the planets that we saw got destroyed by Starkiller Base.
That would be stupid, though. That would be stupid because that just casually blows up Coruscant like it's.
And
nothing.
I don't even think the Republic Senate was even on Coruscant.
They were.
They were, okay.
Or yeah, they were.
I remember about Star Wars. That's right.
That's where Yoda and I mean, that's where freaking
Yeah.
Yoda and Palpatine fought, and that was definitely Coruscant.
The rumors that Coruscant gets destroyed. The thing is, I don't really see much symbolism there in destroying Coruscant. But yeah, Coruscant map would be cool. I think, I'd like to see maybe like like a Death Star 2 map, maybe.
Yeah.
That could be cool. But taking
What they need to do is have giant freaking battles again.
Mm-hmm.
I need giant ass maps,
Yeah.
huge battles. I want to be able to fly up to the Star Destroyer, and there should be like 100 ships up there flying around or something, or maybe not that much, but
Right.
I mean, they could have them AI controlled.
Yeah, that's what they do in the Fighter Squadron mode.
Yeah, you can do that.
Because that's
But
like
you could still
40
have
players,
human
but still
pilots.
have a lot of because that's like 40 players, but you still have like a ton of AI ships flying around too.
But the problem is the way they do drops with vehicles now. They're drops. They would need to rework that to not do that, because it's just.
I
It
feel
breaks
like that
immersion to me because then it's just not sitting there like it is. In,
but
the
I feel
old
like if
Battlefronts.
it's just sitting there, you have that huge issue again of people. They get in the
I
vehicle.
never really had
fly
that
away.
issue that much.
That was a huge issue for me. Like if you ever found a vehicle on the ground,
Battlefront. I've never.
Battlefront. You find a vehicle on the ground, you get in it, and you wait for a co-pilot. But everyone's really upset because they don't get to be the pilot. They want to be the pilot, and they're just going to stand outside of your vehicle while you sit there and wait for a co-pilot, and your team loses the game. It's an issue.
Then everyone does that. Your team isn't going to lose anyway. If both teams.
Well, no,
do that,
because
then
if you're
fucking
playing on Hoth, because that's the only map anyone ever wants to play on, anyways. And I'm talking about original Battlefront here. Then the Empire doesn't have aircraft, so they don't care, and they just capture all the points and win. They might occasionally fight over who gets to drive the AT-AT, but the AT-AT just moves so slow that they just find it boring and they stop.
There's a way they can do that without having it.
I felt like Battlefield 4 did it really well, and in Battlefield 4 it used aircraft as spawn points. So each team would only ever have 2 aircraft in the air at a time.
See, it got to be more aircraft than that.
And you could spawn into them. But
I
yeah,
need like
you would need a ton of aircraft.
minimum 64 players here. I'm serious because that is Star Wars to me. It's giant fucking battles, not these
trade negotiation.
Not these Call of Duty small ass maps. The Call of Duty's better at doing that. Call of Duty's better at gunplay.
The smaller maps, I feel, aren't that great. The larger ones do a pretty good job at capturing the scale, like especially in Walker Assault mode.
They're not large enough.
Well, they're
there's
large
only
enough
so
for
much
the
shit
mode.
You can do with the
they're large enough for the
it.
mode that they're for, though. I feel. Now, I will say with there is hope for that though, because in Battlefield Hardline, I believe they or not Hardline, Battlefield 4, they did add even more massive maps than what were already in the game. So there is a chance to see huge, massive maps in Battlefront, I feel.
I mean, I'd really love to see, and the next one is all the prequel stuff.
That would be cool.
Because there's a lot of variety there.
They did also say they're not doing Episode 7 stuff. However, doing Episode 7 stuff at the time period of the Galactic Civil War, like shortly after it or whatever, that is within the realm of possibility. So that provides some interesting ideas. Maybe like the Rebel base planet or whatever it was. I forget what it was. I don't remember what it was called. I don't know if they ever said it in the movie. But that could be a cool map.
Yavin 4?
No, it wasn't Yavin 4. In Episode 7.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So, Episode 7 stuff is not entirely out of the question since they already have Jakku. But, they said they're full.
Did you cut out?
Did I cut out?
Were you talking?
Yeah, I was talking.
You did cut out.
Anyways, Episode 7, like I said, they have that Jakku map. It takes place before Episode 7, though. So,
yeah.
I feel like since they are focusing on original trilogy stuff, it's not as likely for us to see another Episode 7 thing. Now, they do say that this is they're passionate about what they've created, and they're committed to helping you experience all of your Star Wars fantasies. So, Dan, what is your ultimate Star Wars fantasy?
What does that even mean?
Well, I don't know. Just answer the question. What is your ultimate Star Wars fantasy? So I'll tell you what mine is. My ultimate Star Wars fantasy is the entirety of Episode 4, just straight up, not altered in any way, except every single character, even extras, have been replaced with C-3PO covered in tanning oil.
What?
What's your Star Wars fantasy?
Not that. Just Jar Jar everywhere.
Covered in...
You cut out again.
Sorry about the interruption there. We mentioned Jar Jar, and our connection dropped or something. That was very strange.
He's out there.
He's out there watching.
He's real.
Yeah. Emperor or Supreme Leader Snoke. Binks.
Yep. Yosakanata.
Who I guess there's a new theory about him now, by the way. I don't know if you heard about this one. Supposedly he is... Yes, this new theory suggests that during the battle of Yavin 4, the Death Star, one of the X-Wing pilots was shot down and received serious facial burns and so most of his facial features became like destroyed, kind of like Skullface in Metal Gear Solid 5. And he lived, and he was captured by the Empire, and he was upset because his rebel friends didn't come back to save him. He did work for the Empire for a long time, and then eventually switched over to their side and became their supreme leader eventually. This rebel pilot was fucking Porkins.
Oh, yeah.
So... not. I don't think that's who Snoke is.
He died.
The theory is he survived somehow,
No,
which he didn't.
he's dead.
He's
He
dead.
is dead.
He is very dead.
He's roasted barbecue.
So, anyways, moving on to our next. You mean roasted? That would be
Pork is
anyway.
barbecue.
So, moving on.
Or anything.
While we're talking about Battlefront, Battlefront 3 was in development a very long time ago in a development studio far away from Kansas City at Free Radical. So it's called. They were the developers of Time Splitters. They consisted of a group of developers from Rareware that left the company shortly either before or after they were sold off to Microsoft. So they had a lot of good games like Time Splitters, but they also had a lot of bad games like Haze. So fortunately, from what we've seen of the recent leak, somebody uploaded an early build of the game online that has a basically fully functional Hoth level. And it's an Xbox 360 build if you have Xbox 360 dev kit, or if you're able to launch pirated software on your Xbox 360, you can check it out for yourself if you can find the download link, because we are not providing it in fear of getting cease and desisted. So, anyways, Battlefront 3. I think Dan, you saw most of the footage that I sent you, right?
I've seen everything.
Okay. So Battlefront 3 looked to be very much in the vein of Battlefront 2. It was going to be on the 360 and PS3 and PC, Wii, DS, PSP, and PS2. A lot of platforms. They were all
I just
canceled.
saw it said 360, PS3, Wii, and PC.
Actually, that was those versions. So here's the thing: Battlefront 3 was also going to be on the DS, PSP, and PS2. Those versions of the game were going to be developed by Rebellion Entertainment. They are known for. I'm trying to think of some things they made. They did Aliens vs Predator. They did the PS2 port of Call of Duty World at War, which is actually not that bad. So they. But anyways, their PS2 port got canceled. The PSP and DS versions, however, did not. Those were finished and released after Battlefront 3 was canceled.
Not the
they were
DS
released,
version.
DS version was. It's called Elite Squadron. Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron has
For
the
DS?
same story on the DS. Yes, and actually, really surprising.
I know it's on the PSP, but I don't
PSP
remember
version actually has all of the features of the originally, or almost all the features of the originally proposed version that was being made for consoles. So it had like the transitions between ground and space
that's
battles.
the shit I want to see in the
That's
new one.
in the PSP version.
Yeah, I want to see that in the new one. I don't understand why the PSP can do it. Why aren't you doing it? Like,
the DS version played from a top-down perspective, kind of like Gauntlet, I think is how it was mentioned. But I don't know if it was any good or not. But either way, both of those games had the same story, and that story was the story from Battlefront 3, which was there's these two clone troopers, and after Order 66, one of them goes apeshit insane, the other one goes all emo. The emo one goes and joins the Rebellion and becomes a Jedi, and the apeshit insane one joins the Empire and becomes a Sith. And there's like this huge climactic boss battle at the very end where they fight each other, and really cool stuff.
That actually seems interesting.
So, it turns out that most of the 3D models that were made for Battlefront 3 were actually used in Connect Star Wars and The Force Unleashed 1 and 2, which I thought was kind of interesting. They were also going to be used in the canceled Star Wars Battlefront Online, which was being developed in parallel to Star Wars Battlefront 3. You may remember when Operation Raccoon City, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, the multiplayer third-person shooter game that was very poorly received. when that came out, somebody data mined the disk for it and found what appeared to be loading screens for a Star Wars Battlefront game. This was actually that developer's Battlefront game that was being developed in parallel to Battlefront 3, and that was Battlefront Online. That was going to be a free-to-play PC-only game. So how those loading screen images got onto a PS3 disc, I have no idea.
On purpose?
Maybe. But either way, that's kind of interesting.
I'm bummed out. They had the game almost finished. They said 99. Well,
apparently, well, there was okay. So here's the point of reference for that. Where that comes from. Remember on facepunch.com, they're kind of like a Gary's Mod focused website, but they also have other interesting threads. He claimed to have had a version of the game for PC. He had it for testing purposes, or not testing purposes. He had it for code optimization purposes. So it was his job to basically optimize all the code. He uploaded a bunch of models from the PC version because he actually did get an explicit okay to actually upload those models. So he uploaded a bunch of models. Some kid got all whiny because he asked for the game and he said no. And he said, all I did was ask for the freaking game. And so basically, yeah, it turned into a Gary's Mod discussion. And but what he said near the end was that the version of the game he had crashes on startup, but it is 99% done. You can launch it in an included editor, and you can play most of the maps perfectly fine.
Oh, my God.
It says, though, that because of legal issues, being a student in college and not wanting to get sued, he cannot release any more details because they hunkered down on all their NDA stuff around the time of Episode 7 coming out.
Damn it.
So, maybe someday in the future...
Well, he has enough money to be sued. He can release it.
So,
God damn that. Oh, hang on. That really bums me out.
Yeah. Well, we at least got some models from the game. We did get models of. He did upload models of.
We already
two
downloaded one of them and put them into, or tried to put them into Unreal. I looked at it in Maya. You know, did that.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
There's some nice looking models.
Yeah,
they're perfect, but they're pretty nice.
Well, yeah, they're fine. Battlefront's never had the best models until now. Now they do. Like the new Battlefront, the graphics are like perfect.
Oh yeah,
they're perfect.
It's very much focused much more on authenticity, which seems to be DICE's strong point. But yeah, Battlefront 3, yeah. I guess it was in development, and then management changed at LucasArts. They told Free Radical that in addition to a 360 and PC and PS3 version, they told them to make a Wii version as well. So Free Radical actually went and made a Wii version from the ground up.
Can you imagine how terrible that could be?
They started getting these impossible deadlines, and eventually it got canceled. And then shortly after that, LucasArts went out of business.
I'd love to see that, though. Battlefront on the Wii.
Yeah, that does sound really interesting. So, and it was by the main developer, too, so that's incredible.
From the ground up, wow.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much the story behind Battlefront 3. There's some closure to it now. We understand a lot of why it was canceled.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. We want to see in the future.
Did you attempt to download the actual disk image?
I did.
Okay, cool. So possibly sometime in the future, apparently you have to get like a JTagged Xbox in order.
I don't know how to do that.
You can apparently JTag your own Xbox though. So we'll find a cheap 360 Slim somewhere for like $50 someday.
I don't want to touch my Xbox to do that.
We'll find a cheap 360 somewhere and figure out how to mod it. And
those are like we give like $50.
See if we can get some Battlefront 3 gameplay. Apparently, it is a bitch to start up though. It's very laggy. It's very glitchy.
Yeah, that may not make it worth it.
This is not the build that's 99% complete.
No.
Now, I should mention some more details about this build. There are a lot of levels listed in the level select screen. Most of them don't work. The one that does work is Hoth, and there are a couple of test rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like Death Star 2, Death Star, Yavin 4, Yavin 4 with Death Star debris.
That game has so much content in it. From the looks of it,
and of course it was Battlefront 3, so it had instead of it's not like the new one, it actually had all the Clone Wars stuff and all the original trilogy stuff.
That is $60 right there. I would pay that in a heartbeat, no question. But
so
that's the one thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Was
So we're putting Twilight Princess HD.
The soundtrack here that was supposed. You remember Reggie said that at the Nintendo Direct, the last one, that when you pre-order Twilight Princess HD, you would get a bonus soundtrack with it. Apparently now, that's all a GameStop exclusive now.
That's
and they didn't mention that.
Bordering on misleading advertising, but
technically I think they get away with it by putting some text that was kind of vague about it.
That was true. They did say
pay attention for more details on.
Yeah,
but it's like that's still some sly shit.
They always say promotion details subject to change.
That just irritates me. That's what made me pull the trigger on pre-ordering it. Because I mean, that's the reason. It wasn't just because I had an amiibo. It's because I get a freaking soundtrack with it. No, I don't, because I pre-ordered from Best Buy, so I'm screwed. Right. But unless I can take it off and change it, I don't know. It's too risky, because then I might not have any.
Well, I would say set up a pre-order at GameStop, and then...
Yeah, but I don't got the... I don't want to get the money.
You can put $5 down at GameStop.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. You can do that. Well, I might do that, actually.
Yeah.
But that's like... This exclusive shit... Europe, it doesn't matter. There's no exclusive shit for the Europe version, or in Europe. There's none of that, but only here in America we did that. It's really...
it's a bad trend, I feel. I don't like it.
I don't like it. And, because that's... But the thing is, apparently the CD, the soundtrack, is like a sound selection. Which is like the same CD that came with the original game when it came out. It was just like 5 songs or something.
Oh, that's kind of...
So it's like, that's not the official soundtrack. That's another misleading thing. Maybe, unless the GameStop, they get the sound selection on top of a soundtrack. I don't know.
Hard to say. So,
that just...
So anyways, moving on to our next topic. We're going to have a good old-fashioned tinfoil hat kumbaya here about
Chapter 3.
The NX.
We're going to talk...
We're going to...
Exclusive?
I still haven't forgotten when the Wii U launched, somebody found a secret button in Miiverse that would bring you to a developer menu, and it showed basically all the pages that had been set up for Miiverse, and one of them at the system's launch was just a page called Metal Gear. So there was at some point going to be a Metal Gear game on the Wii U.
They could have done 5. They did it on 360 and PS3.
Yeah. So maybe 5 was planned to come to the Wii U at some point, or maybe it was the so-called or the proposed remake of Metal Gear 1 and 2. We'll never know.
God, I don't know.
So anyways, the NX. We're going to put on the tinfoil hats here and have a good old-fashioned discussion here about our various conspiracy theories. So Dan, what are some of the recent news articles about the NX?
Well, there was that 900p rumor thing, which I don't know what the hell that is supposed to mean.
Yeah, supposedly
that makes no freaking sense, though. If it's only, but that makes sense if it's a VR set, like you.
Yeah.
were saying.
So
That's
my My theory is that the Nintendo NX is a VR headset, and I have some reasons to back this up. For one thing, they said it's going to be an accessory. Nintendo said that it's going to be like an accessory to the Wii U and the 3DS. Miyamoto said in an interview a while back that they were working with VR technology, and there was a report on there was some rumor flying around on Twitter. Somebody claimed to have seen an NX. It was some press guy, actually, so this is a pretty legit source. Said that the NX might work with smartphones, PCs, and even rival consoles like the PlayStation 4. Now, what do all three of those have in common? They have VR headsets available. Smartphones have the Samsung Gear VR, or and then even Oculus Rift for mobile phones is also a thing. Then you got PCs. There's tons of VR headsets available on PC, and rival consoles like the PS4. PS4's got a VR headset coming out. So if the NX is cross-platform compatible, and if all these VR headsets are cross-platform compatible, that's incredible.
The NX, it looks like it's a VR headset.
I'll take the friggin' drop in resolution if it means it's cross-platform compatible, because that is incredible. Now,
well, VR headsets, aren't they 900p generally? Something.
The Oculus Rift,
like
I believe, is 1080p.
Okay.
I don't know about the other ones though. I haven't really looked too far into them because they're expensive, and I'm not.
Well, it makes no sense about the 900p. It's just a rumor. It makes no sense because the Wii U can do 1080p. It's just like, are most games going to run at 900p
well, it could
like
be
the
that,
PS4 or something?
It could be that the this VR headset, it could be that they've bumped it down to 900p because it would have to have its own screens. Maybe they only have 900p capable displays in there to keep costs down.
And there's also the rumor of there's like a handheld one, or there's like a handheld something that could be released this year, and then like the console version next year.
Oh yeah, there was a patent that they filed for a controller that appeared to be like the whole face of the controller doesn't have any buttons or sticks or anything. It's just all a touchscreen, and it shows video from the game.
Yeah, that's not giving my hopes up.
Now here's what I think. I
don't care what you think.
Controller with a touchpad, but it doesn't have a screen. I think maybe that screen is generated maybe by the NX, and they work together. Maybe that's.
But what is the point of that?
I don't know.
Screen. If it's all touch screen, I don't want that. I don't want an all touch screen.
Nintendo would finally have a multi-touch device.
I don't want to use a touch screen for buttons.
Yeah, that doesn't work well on phones.
That's why I don't mobile games.
Again, that's just a patent. It doesn't mean anything's going to come of it. So
I hope not. Otherwise, I'm done. I will be done with Nintendo if it's all
Nintendo did say that they are planning on moving into they are starting to kind of move into the mobile phone.
Well, yeah, because the Pokemon game's coming out.
Yeah, the Pokemon game's coming out. Miitomo is also coming out, I think, this month.
Miitomo!
So,
in January?
Is that maybe this month, referring to when this will go up, which will probably be February. But I feel like maybe this controller is able to integrate into maybe Nintendo's phone games. Or maybe it can play Nintendo's phone games. That could be interesting. We'll have to wait and see what ends up coming of that.
Yeah,
but what do you think the NX is? And do you think my theory is even sound?
I mean, I think it is sound. I mean, I kind of thought it could be VR a while back because they said it wasn't going to replace the 3DS or Wii U. But again, they've said similar things in the past, and it was false.
Like the DS, replacing the GameCube.
But I just feel it's too early just to dump the Wii U. It's just not a good...
I don't
strategy.
I can't see them dumping.
And that disappoints me because it's like it's only been out for 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's a VR headset because everyone's jumping on the VR hype train. I can totally picture Nintendo jumping on the VR hype train.
And they've already done it before. Well, it's not really VR, but they've done the Virtual Boy was something like that.
They did some VR-ish stuff on the Wii U, like with the panorama view thing,
which everyone forgot about.
Yeah,
I forgot about it too.
But that's not to say that it's not unthinkable. You know, there's some stuff like that in a lot of their games, like with Captain Toad and I think even Mario 3D World even had some stuff like that. So it's hard to say still what the NX is going to be. I think they said they're going to talk about it at E3 this year. So
I really can't wait. I really cannot wait. I am so hyped for E3.
Nintendo this E3 is going to be something to be excited about. That's going to be...
Well, possibly.
Yeah.
Well, you should get excited, but they can't... The thing is, I don't think they're going to disappoint. They can't disappoint year after year and get away with it. I don't think they will. I think they will...
We're going to have to wait and see.
Come out swinging here.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Yeah. Moving on, since we are... we spent quite a bit of time on all these other topics.
We're at 1 hour now.
Yeah, so moving on.
But I mean, we can make it long because it's, you know...
Yeah, that's true.
We have to make up for everything. We got to make this 4 hours long.
See, this is the just Peter Jackson extended edition. So,
the old Peter Jackson's here with us, yeah.
So, anyways, next thing I want to talk about, Metal Gear Online launched recently on
Metal Gear
Online. Anyways, it launched recently. It launched recently on PC. Metal Gear Online 3 rather launched recently on PC.
What was the first?
The first one was in Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence on PlayStation 2. And then after that was in Metal Gear Solid 4. And then after that, now it's in Metal Gear Solid 5 on now on PC as well. So it's been on consoles for a while. But Dan, have you had much of a chance to try it out? Because I've played.
I only did like 2 matches.
Mm-hmm. What are your first impressions?
I think it's unique.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like Metal Gear.
Yeah.
But I've played Metal Gear 2 or Metal Gear Online 2 before, and it was pretty fun, I guess.
I thought it was okay. I had a lot of trouble wrapping my head around the controls of that one, and I ended up not having a good time in MGO 2.
I don't remember having a problem with the controls as much, but I still would rather just play single player on 5 because I just like, I don't know, because I like just, you know,
right,
single player experience.
Did you ever do much of the FOB stuff? Because that was fun.
The what?
FOB stuff, like the base invasion.
No,
things.
I have not done any of that.
That stuff's pretty fun.
I don't even know how to do any of that.
Oh, you get to a point in the story where you do it.
I'm at that point yet, and I'm at almost 40 hours in now. And I've only not chaptered.
I'm gonna actually look at my
chapter. Is it mission 17 or something?
There's missions in the chat or episodes.
Well, of course, Metal Gear Online inflates that a little bit.
Yeah. So I have 113 hours logged in Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's a $60 game. Mm-hmm. Even though I know
we know ending, I'm not going to spoil anything. The ending
apparently is disappointing. Which
it's very abrupt. I liked the ending. A lot of people thought it was bullshit, but you know that's just how the Kojima twists tend to work. So
the story just isn't there compared to so far.
It's there sometimes, but not.
There's just so much gameplay. It's like the opposite of it.
If you remember in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, they had main story missions, and then they had extra ops. Extra ops were like they were like the main story missions. They didn't have as much story. That's all of that's been consolidated into story missions in Metal Gear Solid 5, and it's disappointing. Now extra ops are just like little things you stumble upon in the open world, which is cool. They're just repetitive, And
yeah.
sometimes they just decide to be main parts of the story anyways, but I mean they're clearly marked if they are, but either way, it's I don't know. The story just felt like it kind of jumped around. Not much was explained all too well, but the first chapter of that game though, absolutely phenomenal. It's great. The second chapter is where it really kind of starts to dwindle
Mm.
because you finish you're playing through the first chapter and everything is like it's like everything is like a new story mission. There's no recycled stuff. The missions might be a little repetitive or generic, but it's still all new content in each mission. Then you get to chapter 2. The first 5 missions in chapter 2 are just straight up copy paste rehashes of various missions from the first chapter, but now with special conditions like total stealth or all weapons and equipment OSP, stuff like that. Which I'll admit
there is a lot of fun. Seems like there is bloat there.
Yeah, there's a lot of content bloating in the second chapter, and even in the first chapter. But I feel like there's a mission in the first chapter where you have to rescue a bionics scientist. I don't know if you've done that one yet. It'd be hard to remember.
I think it's best we don't stop talking about it.
But anyways, I feel like that mission was originally because that character is supposed to be a really huge part of the story because he's the one that designed your bionic arm. But it's just rescue this guy. Now he's a member on your base staff, and there's no cutscene with him. He doesn't have any voice acting. So that's the end of my rant for that. But Metal Gear Online, I feel, so I've gotten about 2 hours in there. I've won a couple of matches, and what I like about it is, like you said, the gameplay feels very Metal Gear. When you get kills, your bounty goes up, which is like a little counter on the side of the screen. And so the way that works is when you stun another player by like kicking them or shooting them with a tranquilizer dart or something, you can then attach a fold and recovery balloon to them and then extract them from the level. And when you do this, their bounty number is added to your team's tickets. Now this is in the Bounty Hunter game mode. There's 3 game modes. But in Bounty Hunter, you're basically trying to reduce the enemy team's tickets to 0, or just have the highest number of tickets at the end of the timer. It's pretty fun. I like it a lot, and it's like my go-to game mode. There's also a capture the flag mode that's pretty fun, and then there's like a control points mode, which is all right. But overall, I really enjoy the gameplay. I'm not too good at aiming with controllers, but I still play with a controller because it's what I'm used to, and I don't really like the keyboard controls anyways. But
no,
it does a lot of actions in it do feel very satisfying. Like I was playing earlier today, and I grabbed someone and started walking around with them, and it turns out that if you're grabbing someone and holding them hostage, and somebody on the enemy team starts shooting at you, they actually hit their teammate that you're holding, and if they kill them, it counts as a kill for you, and you get experience points for it.
Yeah.
So it's very fun. I like it a lot. There are some annoying elements to the gameplay, like I've had a lot of instances where like I'll stun someone and I'm about to fold them out because they've got a huge bounty on them.
Well, there's nothing you can do about stupid people.
But then you have some stupid guy on your team who wants to increase his KDR and he wants that 100 points for getting a kill. So he just kills the person you're about to extract, and then you lose the game.
Well, you got that Call of Duty crowd coming in and playing like.
Because they try to market it to them.
The people that just play Team Deathmatch, they don't know anything. They just play to kill, and that.
The maps.
Still the way to play it.
The maps I feel are really fun. They have the entire Ground Zeroes map as a multiplayer map, so that's cool. It's just the map for Metal Gear Online. I mean, it's been condensed a little bit, but it's still a good section of the Ground Zeroes map, which is awesome. There's also a couple of areas from the various open worlds, which is pretty cool. The sneaking in this works great. It's just a lot of fun, It's a stealth multiplayer first person, or not first person. It's a stealth multiplayer shooter game, which is a weird thing to say. But looking at what is it? Mm, in I completely lost my train of thought.
I don't know, but
Yeah, the things I don't like. It has like for customization stuff for your character. There's a lot of hat, facial, shirts and costumes and whatnot that you can choose for your character. But my issue with it is all of it costs money, not real money, but like it either costs mother base coins or gear points. And gear points are what you earn from playing the game. Mother base coins are things that you actually have to buy, and they were actually implemented into Metal Gear Solid 5, the base game. You would spend those to build new FOBs and speed up your research, I think. But like let's say I buy Australian Hunter's hat or whatever. I think that's what or Outback Hunter's hat is the item is called. Now, or the eye patch is a better example. So the eye patch costs 500 gear points. That's fine. That's not a ton compared to like your weekly bonuses or whatever. So, I buy the eye patch, and then I have the option to change the colors. So I'm like, cool. I'll look at the other color options, and I'm looking at them. And I can change it any color, and all of those colors I have to unlock by paying for them with gear points. And what's even more baffling is some of them cost more than others. So like, okay, so it's black by default. Okay, that's fine. If I want red, that costs 50 gear points. If I want green, though, that costs 500 gear points. Now, if I want silver, it costs 1,000 gear points. It's ridiculous.
Unless it's like something
gold
to do
costs 10,000 gear points. That's absolutely insane.
I mean, it's gold, but
it's not like shiny gold either. It's just a gold color because you can preview all of them, even if you don't have enough.
I don't know.
It's just really confusing.
Just whatever to that.
The high level of microtransaction-ish stuff in that is kind of to me.
The same shit you're gonna see in everything else. So it's like whatever.
Yeah. So that's the only thing. That's the only real issue with it. There's also only really 3 game modes. There's rush variations, and I don't know what that means. But there's only really 3 game modes, so it'd be cool to see them maybe add more in the future. But I don't think that's going to happen because the development team was fired. So
fuck the development team. Fuck them.
You don't need those to make video games.
You don't need them.
Wait, now we can't make new video games. Shit.
We gotta get onto this next topic. We were at Gtx-KC, the gaming convention here in Kansas City. We were there all weekend. There was a few guests there was one from the game industry. Yeah,
Eric Weil, who previously worked at he worked with Sony Online Entertainment for a while. He worked on EverQuest. I think he worked on PlanetSide, a couple other big name games. He is no longer with Sony Online Entertainment. He's
He also worked on Star Wars Galaxies.
He did work on Star Wars Galaxies, but he's working on his own project right now, which I'm not sure if he wants us to talk about. So
you can talk about it on here.
Yeah, we get him on here as a guest. But I thought it was cool. I don't really go to conventions too often. Small turnout, but I felt like that was kind of a good thing.
Yeah, that's where you get to talk to the developer more.
Yeah.
The guests more. You can talk to, But the problem is, there was no one there to play the tournaments. So there was no prizes for the money we paid.
We participated in a Rocket League tournament. We paid $25 each to enter it. We got our $25 back, so, not that big of an issue.
Yeah, but I mean, if I paid if I'm risking 25, and the chance of winning, isn't very high, why would I do that?
Yeah, that's true.
If I only get my money back.
But I had fun. There's a certain level of satisfaction in hearing your opponent actually scream in the same room as you when you destroy them, absolutely destroy them. So that's a plus.
Rage quit in real life.
That we in our final match in the Rocket League tournament, we were up 5-3, I think.
That was more than that.
Yeah, it was like 7-3 or something. I don't know. Anyways, the other team had these two bratty kids who had been there all day that day, and they'd been there all day the previous day too. And the guy running the gaming PCs and the tournaments and whatnot, he came up to us and said, "Okay, I want you guys to get these two bratty kids out of here." And so I told him, "Oh yeah, we're planning on it. I'm anticipating that." And so,
if anyone listens to this, that is a fit. Oh man,
scores 7-3, and I do the kickoff. I noticed that this other team, their cars aren't moving. I look over, they're just gone without a trace. I looked around to see if I could see them.
Well, the other guy was there.
The
other guy that was talking more that left, and
yeah,
I didn't see him.
So I don't know.
They were part of like some gaming clan thing or gaming team that there was a few there that were.
They thought they were hot stuff.
Yeah, I mean a lot of these
they were not
gaming teams. Well, they weren't hot stuff at Rocket League. I bet they could kick our ass in something else like Call of Duty.
Anybody can kick my ass in Call of Duty, and that's not an invitation. Even though it sounds like I'm saying everybody is capable of kicking my ass in Call of Duty.
Or frickin' League of Legends. I don't know how to play that. Now I'll kick your ass at Rocket League. Well, maybe, most likely.
So, anyways,
I actually play that. And
we need to do some Rocket League streams sometime. But moving on, GTX-KC was fun. We got to talk with Eric Weil a lot.
We just sat there for like 3 hours at one of his panels that no one showed up for. Nobody showed up to this con. That was the biggest problem.
Yeah. But I feel
like it was disorganized too to an extent, but it wasn't like.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
It wasn't horrible.
I did enjoy the fact that there was a small turnout, though, because, for me, I don't really like huge, busy crowds.
Well, no, I just wanted, a respectable amount of people there. But the benefit of nobody there is you get
1,000 or something.
Respectable would have been 3 times what they had.
Which I think you said was around 150 tops.
Yeah, so you're talking, almost 500.
So, kind of a small turnout. They did have a very cool game room with a lot of really uncommon stuff.
Yes,
that was neat.
They had about every game console.
We got a video up on YouTube of one of the most uncommon things that we found there. Is some piano things. So check that out on our YouTube channel. But yeah, it was a fun. I thought it was a fun time. If they do it again, I'd totally go. But I think you're saying they got bought out by some other gaming convention that's happening in May.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they also run I think part of they're owned by the Up Down arcade bar thing downtown.
Oh yeah,
which is like the big that's where everyone goes on the weekend. All the nerds, or maybe more than that. I haven't been there. I
drunk.
Well, I'll just go there and play arcade games and hang out. I want to go check that place out because
it does sound cool. We should check it out sometime.
There's not many arcades around. They're barcades. I know there's the other one, the other barcade. What was it? Tapcade. That was a pretty cool place.
That's pretty cool. I need to check that out sometime.
That's where I met. That's where I was there with Billy Mitchell.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was playing arcade games next to the legendary Billy Mitchell. That was surreal.
And you forgot to tell him about the show. Damn.
Well, no, we tweeted him. But you weren't there though. I wish you were because we could have went. The after party with Billy Mitchell was just phenomenal because then we watched the show and
So moving on, this weekend.
He's also got
while we're talking about games, um,
this is games.
That's the greatest segue for this show. While we're on the topic of games, we are going to be participating in the Global Game Jam. Probably going to be over by the time this goes up, but we're going to be doing the Global Game Jam. It's going to be, well, I am. It's going to be exciting. 48 hours. It's you got to make a game based on a theme, and fun stuff.
I want to do it on the theme because I want to do it.
The thing is, I'm worried because their theme the last couple of years.
I don't care. I want to make a game around the theme where everyone else is doing.
So you remember what the theme was last year, right?
No.
Or not last year, but the year.
I don't care. I'll make something out of it.
Okay, I think last year is what do we do now? And then before that, it was we don't see things as they are. We see things as how we are. Or something. It was a stupid-ass theme. But I feel like the best themes of Global Game Jam that I know of, probably the Ouroboros is my favorite.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think
Ouroboros. The Heartbeat one is pretty cool too.
But the Ouroboros, I don't know if it was the theme or as much as the team we had, because the team we had was incredible.
Yeah.
And that was the most fun. It was like the first year we went and we created a game that was.
I always look forward to game jams, and
I do too. It's just the last 2 years have been suck.
I'm tempted to live stream this one, but I might not. I might do that if I do like a solo game jam.
We did do that in 2012.
I mean, like live, like direct feed from a monitor. Yeah, Global Game Jam, tons of fun. If you are interested in game development,
find your local
find a local jam site.
We don't have one here because no one registered.
Mm-hmm. But if you're interested in jamming, jam on your own, or since this episode's going to go up after it's over.
This episode
will probably go up after the game jam ends. There's some other good game jams you can participate in. Ludum Dare.
Can you upload even if you don't have a site?
No, you can upload to whatever you want, but you're not going to be able to upload to the Global Game Jam site.
See, that just takes that. It makes me not even want to bother. Because part of the fun is you have your game up there and, it's official.
Yeah.
People can look at it and... Next
year.
Yeah, I gotta wait a whole fucking year.
Well, there's other game jams, too. So...
Yeah, but this is the game jam.
Mm-hmm. This is the big one. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to making a game over a weekend anyways, just because of the fun of making a game. In a short amount of time with constrictions. So, or restrictions, not constrictions.
Constrictions. Oh God.
So it's getting 2 a.m. Looking forward to that. And so kind of need to wrap things up. It's getting a little late. I need to go to sleep. So, moving on to our final topic. Our next episode, we're going to talk about our Game of the Year awards. We're going to announce our Game of the Year's awards for 2015. But right now, we're actually going to discuss our candidates for Game of the Year. And we're just going to say what our candidates are.
I mean, I can't really narrow anything down because I didn't play enough of anything.
Well, you have some candidates regardless, though.
Well, yeah.
What are your candidates for Game of the Year?
Well, obviously the game we talk about every fucking podcast, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Okay.
That's obvious. Rocket League, we talk about that every damn
absolutely.
podcast. Kerbal Space Program.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't know. City Skylines is up there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really play many games from 2015 is the problem here. I played games from other years.
Mm.
I usually don't play things right when they come out.
Right.
And Fallout 4 I haven't played enough of yet.
Yeah.
Or Bloodborne, I haven't played enough of it. But from what I played of Bloodborne, it was fantastic. Mm. Fallout 4, I don't know yet because
I feel like
that game gets...
I feel like Bloodborne's opening is so awesome and effective. It's like, because you start off, you're completely unarmed and you're in like some medical office or whatever, and then you find this werewolf, and if you try to fight it, you're probably going to die. And then you go back to the hub world, you get a weapon, and you go back there with the weapon, and you beat the shit out of this fucking werewolf asshole. That is just so cool. I mean, it's possible. It's also possible to kill it with your bare hands. So
that's what I did.
And you can also just run away from it like a bitch, like me. So
I think I killed it. I don't remember.
Sure, you did.
But yeah, City Skylines, Kerbal.
Do you have another nomination?
I mean, I played the shit out of MLB 15. Like, that's the game I played the most. That's what I wasted all my time playing. But I wouldn't call it a candidate for Game of the Year because there's just, it's just one of those games you personally like. You just like, right. I just love, simulation,
like Call of Duty
baseball games.
It's like,
but it's like it's not
going.
It's not Game of the Year worthy because it's just so they didn't add much to it, and the online is laggy, or it's just it's got problems, too many problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the itch you need, or it's just like a game that you have to have every year, but it's not like.
Well, my candidates. Are you done with your candidates?
Yeah, I might throw NHL 16 on there. I don't know.
Okay. So my candidates for Game of the Year are Fallout 4. Of course, I've played a ton of Fallout 4 on PlayStation 4. I've got the Pip-Boy edition. Finally got it to work with the phone, so I'm happy about that. But Fallout 4 is definitely on there. There's just so much to do in that game. There's so much depth. Rocket League, of course. I play the shit out of that too.
Yeah.
It's so fun. The physics just make that so much fun. And I got someone to rage quit the other day. That was always entertaining. Winning by forfeit is the most satisfying feeling in the world. Tell you what.
I like when I want to finish the game though. I hate people quitting though, because then it's just like, really.
Oh yeah, because when they stay around for the end, you say GG in the chat, and then they respond with F you.
I mean,
you don't say GG, you asshole.
I don't want to take time to type that.
Doesn't take any time at all.
And I don't do that.
You click on the touchpad, and then you tap X twice, and you press R2. Anyways, Bloodborne. I also play a ton of Bloodborne. The visual design in it is amazing. The gameplay design is amazing. Love it so much. Fallout Shelter is also on my list. It's the only mobile game I've ever paid money for in-app transactions.
Ooh, I could add the freaking, what's it called? The Claw Machine game.
Oh, yeah.
The Badge Arcade.
You should add that to yours.
Yeah, that's no.
And then Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is my final nomination for Game of the Year. It is basically a first-person shooter that should not be able to exist, a AAA third-person shooter that should not be able to exist in 2016 or 2015 or whatever. Should not be able to exist on modern consoles because it is a straight-up, slow-paced tactical shooter. It's amazing. I love it so much. It's very slow-paced. It's very methodical. It's very, very tactical. The environmental destruction in it is so detailed that you can actually carve holes in parts of the wall and cut out circles to use as holes to look at. It's so amazing.
Yeah, that was impressive when I played the beta. So
yeah, so that's my Game of the Year candidates. And then you got Dan's. So
kind of
have them on the screen.
Yeah, I didn't play enough Splatoon. That's another one that it was unique, but not really my Game of the Year.
Yeah, but, I mean, if I played more of it, because I didn't really get into the story yet.
So it's definitely between Metal Gear 5 and Rocket League.
Yeah. For me, all of my nominations pretty much have some level of, it's pretty much a 5-way equal footing match here, and it's going to be really difficult to kind of decide.
Yeah, I might even put, Kerbal higher, but I didn't get to play.
And, I feel like what I might do, I might for both of our candidacy lists, we might like assign I think everything on these lists deserves to win because there's all such great games. So I think we should assign an award to each of them, like best physics or best game. And like you have all these random other like technical awards, and you of course have Game of the Year. I feel like that would be a good way to do this.
The problem is I can't do that because I didn't play enough. I mean,
we'll figure something
I can't
out.
sit there and break something down that is just grasping at straws for something for some of these. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't play enough with Splatoon. I didn't hardly play anything, so that wasn't MLB 15.
Well,
but
we'll cover that in the next episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, if you like the show, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and stalk us on all other social media websites. Oh yeah, we're on Twitch, and we're gonna have stuff on there soon. Again, sorry for the big delay in content, guys.
yeah,
More stuff is coming soon, so stay tuned and like and subscribe. Thanks for listening, everyone.